and down to the states, doing the mandates that come about by federal, by executive orders. And I support the idea of putting this into conservation. I like Steve's idea. I think it's kind of late in the ball game to change the way, the path we're on. But I would hope that as these parcels come up to the town and available to the town, I believe I acted in ignorance, supporting the federal funding of this. I wish I had known prior to all of our discussion and decisions, you know, what we were getting into. Hopefully in the future we take the time, just learn about what some folks here are concerned about and add it to the conversation, you know, and weigh it well and go forward from there, fully informed and with the big picture. You know, we shouldn't be taking things with orders top down. It should be the grassroots and the taxpayers that are making the decisions and how we conserve our properties, I guess. So.
No sense.
That's it.
I think so. You guys?
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be.
Okay, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Dave.
Dave.
Sounds that way.
Yeah.
First research and then go from there and put on the unfinished business for next time. Public comment number one? Or
I have a couple questions, one of which is.
public comment is quick, easy, quick things, anything,
I can talk fast.
any, you might not get an answer. Otherwise, you know, we just encourage you to get on the agenda.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I would like to know what the dollar amount is when we put something out to bid for the town. Is there a specific dollar amount that, the
Usually,
number of bids that you get before contracting somebody?
usually around 5,000.
So
5 to 10.
I can assume then we got 3 bids for the, this fellow we hired to
The
review the town?
company.
Mhm.
There's a verbiage in there that says if there isn't other companies and it's unfeasible to do, then you can go ahead with the bidder that you have or the corporation that you hire.
If there's not, well, there's plenty of companies that do this.
Right. Oh,
Oh, okay, I can name, I can give you a whole list
all right.
of them.
Well, we did consult, we did have another bid, but they didn't offer the package that we were looking for.
The in-depth, it was just a,
They didn't have the depth to the program that we were looking for and, or to the plan that we were looking for, so there were multiple bids on it.
So you didn't do a competitive bid, is what you're saying?
put it out in the paper and stuff? No.
Now, I guess my next question is if and when is this to be completed?
Hopefully by middle of April.
Okay, so when we're judging the activity in the town, it will not include any influx of residents for the summer. So we're really gonna be looking at a winter operation for the town.
No,
I don't think so, no.
That's not the way it's done. I don't think that's the way it's looked at. They look at the operations of the towns, the needs of the towns, the population,
Right,
the amount
okay,
of
but you-
calls, the police calls. They don't look at police calls just in the wintertime. They look at police
No,
calls
but don't you
throughout the
think,
year.
yeah, but I think what you're forgetting is that half of our population goes away for the winter, I think.
That's
And-
truly not our population though. Those are seasonal residents. They reside and vote somewhere
Oh.
else.
And that is,
Absolutely.
that is being addressed, because the company is going to do a survey on the web. And you know and I know that every one of these lakes has a circle of people connected through the internet.
And you
So they
know
will
and I
have
know
ample-
how effective that was.
I know it's very effective. When Mr. Lee sends out his notices, about 500 to 1,000 people get it.
So I guess then the purpose of this is to turn around and consolidate departments. So in other words, are you gonna take what he says, if he recommends, for example, that we only need a part-time building inspector, then you're gonna go with that recommendation?
We're gonna look at it. We're gonna look at every single avenue that they have, whether we act on it or not, that's two separate things.
It's a lot of money to spend if
Of course
you're
it
not
is.
gonna take action.
Yep. My hope is to save that money in the first year.
Now, I mean, was there an urgency here that this wouldn't have been put on your budget for the 2012 year?
The board voted unanimously for it. I felt there was.
That you felt that it was something that we needed to do immediately instead of to budget for it?
What was the emergency? I mean, this is what's got me baffled. I mean, $35,000 is a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
5-7.
35,000. I
But
mean, I've got a
once,
little bit of a burr on my side to
Yeah.
start with. And you three gentlemen don't need to hire an outside, you lived here all your life.
but what happened when one of us tried to put a warrant article last year out to join tax collector and town clerk? It became political and this and that. The best thing is a professional outside agency with no politics involved to come in and say, that's a stupid idea, this is what other towns do, this is a really good idea, let's look at this. And as you know, we gotta go right through every different department, take a look at everything. Highway, we've got a road agent that's retiring this year and some inner people. We hear tons of people saying, how many police do we have? Are we going 24-hour coverage with our ambulance? Do we finish the upstairs? That's a $500,000 addition. There's 1,000 questions out there, Joe.
Not just the questions, but there's innovative ideas that we're not aware of that other communities have enforced from all over New England. that
And we may
be
think it's a
able to
good
be
idea.
applied here if we're introduced to them. He mentioned something the other night about, when he was sitting here, two things. One, communities sharing resources like the salt shed idea. Also, he had mentioned something about sharing websites. We have our tax maps online, and I do believe he mentioned something about you could host other communities,
Assessing.
assessing or whatever it is. So
Yeah.
those
You
are
would
things that
do,
we
you might be able to assess communities. As far as the salt shed's concerned, it's foolishness.
I'm not going to argue that, but this is something that, these are ideas, different ideas, that's one of many we hope to get, John. And there's other issues, and you know as a former selectman, there are other issues you can't even discuss that you have to act on. So we'll leave it at that.
And we may think the idea is a really great idea to consolidate this or do that, but a professional in there that rides the truck, goes the route, has all that information, and can give us a professional opinion is probably a lot better than us who don't have anything to do with transfer station sorting, highway this or that, police station procedures. Do we need a prosecutor? Do we have a full-time prosecutor? All that stuff is, grows that budget more and more and more.
Not to mention, excuse me, Peg, this is a $12 million corporation, give or take, okay? You go to any corporation that's got that kind of money involved, they've got a business plan. And this business plan that we're asking for should last us 5 to 10 years. And as Ken said, it's done by an unbiased group that can come in, look at things on a fair playing field, and say, these are recommendations based on communities your same size. You're doing this right, you're doing this wrong, you could be more efficient
I
doing
don't
this.
believe it's gonna take that long to do it for $35,000. I think $35,000 is completely ridiculous. I don't give a damn, it's
Well-
too much money.
Well, I want to ask the selectmen, first of all, my reason for coming is, I haven't given my public comment yet.
You did to me the other night.
Yeah, well, I would like the other gentleman to have the benefit of it. But the question I have is, does this contract have an errors and omissions insurance with it? And does it guarantee a benefit to the town? Because it could have been structured so that unless there was a benefit to the town, you didn't have to receive the entire amount. Is this a front-loaded contract?
How can they guarantee a benefit if you don't want to take their advice?
That's true, but if you
All right.
took their advice, their errors and omissions insurance should cover the liability if you don't recoup and you don't have that actual return coming back to the town. Was this a front-loaded contract? Has this been paid? Have you been billed? Has he started?
No,
Where are
we
we
haven't
at
paid
this?
yet.
So you still have a cancellation clause?
I don't know.
No, it's paid, as you would submit bills as you provide service.
And they're looking at hundreds of hours in each department. It's not somebody that's just gonna do a boilerplate review sitting over in their office. They're gonna be out in the trucks, they're gonna go through the routes, they're gonna go through the whole process. The gentleman reviewing the fire department is the retired fire marshal for the whole state of New Hampshire. The guys doing the police department, they're all high-end, top-name people. These are people that their whole career was in that industry. It's not somebody that graduated college and now you've got them riding in a dump truck figuring out the best route of town. These are individuals that this is their business. We reviewed 2 of the contracts, or 2 of the reviews they did. One was in Guilford, New Hampshire, the other was in Old Town, Maine. They were very thorough and through. And it went through issues that each town had, whether it was personnel issues, where 2 people couldn't get along, to structured issues and long-term capital improvements that nobody's thinking of.
Okay, the reason I'm here, Peter knows why. He actually invited me, I have to tell you, last Thursday. Last week on February 1st, the planning board was made aware of the fact that the $35,700 is encumbered to the professional services line of the planning board 2011 budget. I really have an issue with that because, number one, it's not a land use item, has nothing to do with the planning board. Number two, no one even had the courtesy to let us know that that was going to happen, and last Wednesday it was like, where did this come from? Because the planning board actually ended up under budget, 21,000, I'm sorry, I take this back, planning board, ZBA, and historic commission all ended up $21,016.29 under budget. And because of what you did and never let us know, I believe they call it, what is it, the MS7? This year, in the annual report that goes out to the public, is going to indicate that planning and zoning, and by the way, this is wrongly, this is not the proper line item.
That's DRA's stuff, we don't put that in there.
But we have the historic commission in here as well, and it's not indicated to the public. But right now, it's showing, we spent $92,579.50. And I would like to know what the explanation was that you inserted. I would like it word for word, because we would like a clear explanation. We would like the public to know that that encumbrance had nothing to do with land use.
You know, while she's looking that up, I made a comment at the deliberative session, and I'll give you the reasons why I was in favor of this, is because this budget is pretty daggone flat. I mean, there's not a whole lot more we can cut out of this. Mr. Blackman made a comment, we're not doing our roads. And we're not. We've gone from 3 roads to just about no roads. I was in favor of this because we really do need to look at a town as a whole and to find out areas where we might be more efficient in places where we're a little bit fat. We've got to have some good information and put a plan together because, you know, we have people in place here. You know, my opinion is, you know, we have a town hall that's open 5 days a week. Does it benefit me? No, I don't get home until later. I mean, some of these things got to be taken into consideration. How many other towns that have town halls that are open five days a week, and sometimes on Saturdays with the town clerk's office, with this type of a population? I can't tell you that. These people can. They can go out and research this information.
I can see where you're coming from on it, but please, put it in your executive line. Find a line item for the select.
The line item selected was DRA's.
We don't have a choice in that line.
Well,
It's a
actually, I
totally
would like to
different
know who the person, yes, there is a choice. It could have gone anywhere.
line. No,
It
the
could-
DRA says it goes there.
The problem is, it's not a
Under
line, it's not for planning, it's not a land use item. And to be honest, it could have gone anywhere. It could have gone into another department. If you didn't have a line item for it, then should you really have been doing this? Shouldn't it have been a warrant article to have it approved for the people.
It wouldn't have been a
trying to
warrant
do it.
article.
To ask if you want, if this survey should be done.
Yeah,
You
you
could have put it as a
into
line
budget.
item, it's a 2012 expenditure. It could have gone under the
It was an
selectmen in
encumbrance.
2012.
It's
I
an
think the
encumbrance,
confusion is
but I
here, it's
guess-
encumbrance. The
but
school
gentlemen-
and the town have done this over for years with
We understand
encumbrances.
that, but the problem is the black eye is going into the land use line.
Who's gonna see that land use budget overrun?
The MS,
You don't think the annual, it comes on the annual
the
report.
MS7 shows it in the annual report.
It
It
does.
does show a
Yeah.
negative, it's $13,000 over. In those lines, the planning and zoning, that form comes already done by DRA. We don't type any of those numbers in the form, those are set by DRA, the planning and zoning is set by DRA. because 4191 also has Heritage Commission, it doesn't say that. DRA,
It doesn't show.
I know, but DRA is the one that types this form and puts it in here. We
And
get
we're
it from
looking
the
at
Excel
three
stuff.
departments right
We
in
don't
there,
do-
3 boards that have information in there. It's identifying
Right.
only 2. But
And the
gentlemen,
$26,000 has also to do with, we had wages for the land use clerk that was 35 hours a week. We didn't decide to do 35 hours a week. So what you had for extra money was a lot of the land use clerk secretary hours. And I will tell you what I put in here if you want to know.
Actually, I think I've got them right in here. I've got the differences right here. We ended up not using,
About 6,000 for your consultant and
yeah,
Probably
for
10
her, there was
something for your-
10,061.75. But the other thing is, gentlemen, did you even think about what the impact was gonna be on the planning or the land use department? You know, the
What
sad
impact
part
is
is,
there?
I don't think there's gonna be any impact,
I don't
because when next year's budget season comes up, and the budget comes in, and
We have to go before and fight
a new
for
budget
get
committee
money.
member's sitting there, and they say, what's this, well, how come this line went over? Well, that's where they put this money that the selectmen encumbered to do a study.
If you were
I mean, it's simple.
If you were so concerned about how it looked, then why were you poised to ask the Board of Selectmen to encumber $6,000 or whatever it was to support the planning consultant? You were poised
the
to ask us
conservation
you
and
were
the
poised
heritage.
to ask us for
Yeah,
encumbering
absolutely.
money, and now you're chastising us for doing it.
no, the money I was asking you to encumber was for land use, for the use of heritage and the Conservation Commission, for a study that they were going to do. They weren't ready for it, but the Heritage Commission was ready to go forward. And it's different, Peter, because this assessment has nothing to do with the land use. And again, we're looking at something that gives us a black eye, and year after year, the planning board and the ZBA have had to go before the budget committee and plead and beg to get money in the budget.
You know who gets the black eye? That whole budget is a selectman's budget. That's the only one who gets the black eye. We've got to explain the budget. The departments
I
come,
disagree.
the departments come and they tell us what they need for money. And along with the budget committee, we work out a budget. We all work very hard, Peg, you know that, every one of us, to come up with a
I really
budget.
feel there should
And
have
it's
been some
not just
courtesy.
your budget.
As a courtesy, you couldn't even let us know where you put it. We found out some backwards way, almost 2 months
And nobody's
after.
saying that our checklist was perfect.
When was the IRA's recommendation? I don't believe it was quite a while after we made the decision to encumber, I believe.
For what, for where to put it?
Where to put it, yeah.
Well, I was told from LGC and DRA that you need to encumber from a line that is like a consultant line, something that we have that's related to a consultant line, in
So-
order to encumber for a consultant.
If that's the case, and you gentlemen had decided to do this assessment last April, what line would you have put it on? Instead of encumbering at the end of the year. If you had decided to do this at the beginning of 2011, where would it have gone?
I wouldn't have done it at the beginning of the year.
We would have
When did
decided,
you start interviewing for this? August was
Back in
somebody
August,
said?
I think?
No.
August.
No, it was November.
I was thinking it was more in August that we started dealing with things that we were,
Yeah, we sat down, we didn't make any decisions on this.
no, I'm not saying decisions, but
No,
I'm
but you
saying,
were proposing this method to resolve whatever your issue was.
No.
no.
No, it was latter.
There was an issue that came up in the latter part of the year that prompted this, for us to consider this.
Well, I guess my concern is that the comment was made that there was $40,000 left in the budget from last year, and therefore you were entitled to be able to spend this money. But, well, that was said the other night, Peter, don't shake your head. And the issue I have is if there was $40,000 left over, we shouldn't be adding $60,000 to our budget for this year. It's like at the end of the year, if you have a checkbook, you don't just spend all your money instead of paying your bills in 2012. I just think it would have been easier to stomach if it had come in as a line item. I'm not even saying that I would have totally opposed this, but I would have liked to have seen 3 competitive bids from people who do the same
You're not gonna find
thing.
3 companies that are gonna do it.
I think it was
Don't tell me
I
that.
don't,
Yeah.
Kenny, I don't think it was an emergency, if it had gone another year.
It's just like when somebody's running for president and they say, I'm getting those troops out the first day, and they say this and they say that. They get in the room, they get elected, and all of a sudden their advisors are starting to talk to them, and all of a sudden you realize there's a lot more to it than just what it looks like.
I know, but it's not an emergency. I don't care how you cut it, it's not an emergency.
Could be.
You don't know that, Joe.
Yeah, exactly.
You
All
know,
right,
it's
since
a
this
public
isn't on the
conversation.
agenda and there's nothing there, we'll move on to, yeah, go ahead and state what you've got
On the
there.
MS7 peg that's
Yes.
being put in this year's town report, it says this amount includes $35,700, which was encumbered by the Board of Selectmen for the cost of the consulting contract with MRI. There's an asterisk up by those line items and an asterisk down at the bottom of the.
Well, could you please add for a non-land use item? I would like that to
That
appear
is
in there.
already going to print
That,
as of today.
that
I
was
mean, I was
still
rushing
something-
to get it into her before, when
That's
you
still
and I
not a
talked.
clear explanation.
Out of everybody in the room, it's me and Mr. Kaspersick that are gonna have to deal with it next year. So,
Well, we'll hear about it during the year, we'll hear the grumbles from the residents,
How do you know?
because
They
it always
can-
appears in
It's-
the annual report.
You know, changes,
We can't explain it, Joe. We can't explain it. There's
That's-
been enough
and
public
that's just it. I
comment.
mean,
We as a planning board can't explain
you
it.
can't-
We got the asterisk that we wanted, and it's already encumbered. It's a done deal.
We understand
So
that,
there's no
and I
sense
hope that in the
bickering
future-
anymore. We got what we asked for the other night at our planning board meeting. Our town administrator put in there what we asked for.
That's what I
Thank
saw.
all right, moving on to unfinished business. Street light on Province Lake Road in Emery Lane.
I got a report from the police department.
This is one that was turned off and they'd like it turned back on
They would
a
like to
different
turn back-
individual.
Yeah, we had the police department go back out and relook to see if it was a hazard. And they just stated that, yeah, there is no light at Emery Lane and Province Lake Road. The actual light has been removed from the pole. There is a light before and after Emery Lane. Not having a light at Emery Lane does not appear to be a hazard.
I'm good with that.
Take
You guys
their
good with
advice.
that?
So we'll let the property owner know that had contacted the board.
No new business? No capital reserve expenditures, correspondence? We have two letters of resignation. One is the retirement of the highway agent, that job is up for posting. And we also have the land use clerk that is, put her resignation in. So Danny's retiring after 17 years? Let's get close to 20, I don't
Yes,
think
I
it's
think
quite
it's
20, so. Anybody knows anyone looking for a job as a road agent, please put that in, or land use secretary.
Is it going on the ballot?
What's that?
Is it going on the ballot?
No.
No.
It's not elected.
Are they going to post for the,
Yeah, land use will go in next week's Carroll County and the website probably tonight or whenever to be there. Due by March 5th for land use. And road agent is due by next Monday, 13th.
Yeah. John?
Probably 25 years ago, it used to be elected, not elected.
The road
Elected
agent?
position, both
Yeah.
chief of police and
Yeah.
road agent. And they should do the same thing with the clerk, town clerk, and the tax collector. That should be an appointed
And
position,
the treasurer.
and the treasurer. That should be appointed by the selectmen. Then
We
you
were
get some
we were
control.
talking about that
That's
earlier.
right, Joe.
The tax
And I've been
collector,
saying that for years.
the tax collector can't
No,
legally.
that has to be.
That has to be an elected, it never
Who?
got, the tax collector, as it stands by itself, can never be right now an appointed position by the board in, per the state legislation. The town clerk, on the other hand, can be an appointed position. The tax collector cannot.
What about the treasurer?
I believe it can be appointed.
Yeah, so we just
Yeah.
change that to the warrant articles next
Yeah,
year
next year you
and
could have a
change the year
warrant article
after.
that says,
Because it's really hard, anybody can run for the position, qualifications don't really matter, like you say, road agent, I remember was Sonny Nason, and the police chief was before Charlie Sullivan, probably.
Yeah, it's.
Right after Senecal.
Mike Senecal, that's
Yeah.
what made it change.
Exactly.
I remember, you might remember, I can remember when they had Teddy Kennison run for the selectman. I thought it was a big joke. I said, that idiot gets in here as selectman, he can't even read or write. Do you remember that?
I don't remember when he ran, but I remember where he lived,
Yep.
and you stayed one step ahead of him when you were a little kid. Public comment number 2, any new public comment? Jerry?
Mark,
You sure you want to leave this job?
You don't have any gray hair
You
yet.
could have some thick skin, you could have some thick skin to set up.
He's got all his hair and it's not gray, jeez. Ralph,
Okay, I can't afford to lose much.
The amending of the article, the warrant article to set up an agricultural commission, it was a petition.
Yeah,
If the petitioners imagined 100 members coming forward and wanting to be part of that, was it wise to set that up so that it limited the members of that? And if they had imagined that their peers would come together on a board or a commission and all elect each other as chair and co-chair and all that stuff, how wise was it to amend that petitioned warrant article without any of the petitioners speaking to the amendment?
yeah, I think Mr. Blackwood was involved as far as a petitioner on that too, so he was there. I think it's gonna be a board we'll probably have trouble filling, and if we do have so many people that we've got more people than seats, we can change it the next year.
I think you're only allowed up to 5 or 7 members
Yeah,
on
the
that
alternates.
commission anyway.
The state
There's
controls
no
it.
limits. When you look at the RSA and how many you have, and it has to be appointed, they have to be appointed by the board of selectmen, that's what the RSA, that's why they added that extra RSA in there. So that's pretty much, we were pretty much hoping to help the agricultural commission, because they wouldn't have been able to do anything without it, and that's when John got involved in that too, so, just to.
And the agricultural commission is a good education for the town, really.
Well, I think
Brookfield's
it's,
going,
I think
Wolfboro's
it's a
going.
good thing and necessary, but I just hate to limit the memberships, you know, I mean.
There is a limit already on the RSA though.
Okay.
Just wondered if Ralph heard about that new grass that you can grow, that you can burn for fuel, to heat.
Come on.
No, but really, there is a new, I heard it today at UNH, I was at a seminar at UNH, and, the traditional hay field, now you can have this new grass that grow in our hay fields that you can burn in like a wood-fired furnace in your basement.
you can stay warm all night stoking that thing.
So I was just wondering if Ralph heard that.
I heard about the flatulence tax.
That's better than they're using corn and wheat for gas. Drove the price of food right up. The A-zones, people were all kind of quiet on that. Deliberative session was good on Saturday. Turnout looked a little smaller, but.
Was it about 60 people?
Wait till Friday night. it'll be
About
real
70.
small.
Yeah, exactly. It's sad. Administrative's update.
I got an email from Kate Miller from Donahue Tucker, and she had a little thing that popped up to her to remind her that Time Warner Cable had not even gotten back to her yet. So she's contacted Mike Edgecombe in regards to that to find out if he's gonna start working on some responses. And he said within the next week or so, he should get back to her. So she said, so I'll follow up with Mark. And I emailed back and said, well, Mark might not be selected by then. So my question then to the board is, are we gonna still keep Mark or as a representative for the town, because it doesn't have to be a selectman? Or are you gonna wait and,
You gonna turn your keys in that day? You wanna be a cable advisory?
Well, let's
You
see, he said that
it
Time
may be
Warner's gonna get back
in
to
the
you.
next couple weeks
Yeah.
before your
Because I'm gonna be
Term is up.
around till March 14th, right?
16th,
16th, yeah.
I think you'll get till the end.
Are you sure of that,
3
Teresa?
days into.
You sure of that?
Wait, how long he's in?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in till the
Because we vote on
recount.
the 7th, right, or what?
No, they vote on the 13th, and you have a 3-day time window for a recount. So Friday is the
Oh, we
last
do have
day
a
for,
3-day.
right, the last day for a recount. So as of, that day, if somebody files for a recount, then the current one would stay in until the recount.
Okay.
So that was kind of my question, so we can kind of ponder
We'll
that
work on
around.
that, yeah.
We'll work on it.
Okay.
Work him over.
Dan got a estimate on the pickup truck that is needed before the end of March. Unsuccessful finding used. And I also went on a couple sites myself and called a couple dealerships myself, unsuccessful finding used. I didn't go to Craigslist, I was, checking out some like Raponi, Ford,
A lot of the
and
dealers
Berlin
use
City.
Craigslist.
Do they?
Yep.
So I didn't check on there, but he got a price on new. So I just thought I would let you know that the price he got with an 8-foot Fisher is 42,290. That's an F-350 V8 diesel, red, 2011 leftover.
Is the plow not worth switching over? I don't know if it's not
No,
there.
he didn't think that it
Huh.
that it was, no.
Does that one come with a